Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Brandon here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Andy, and he's selling his Amazon Associates business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Andy, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on, Brandon.
That's great to hear. Yeah, it's really nice to have you on this call, and I'm excited to talk to you about this business you've created. But before we get into the details, and let's go ahead and give a general overview. So it is an Amazon Associates business in the home niche created in January 2020. The average monthly revenue for the business is $5,457 and makes an average of $5,404 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 50616 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing and start your due diligence if you'd like to be more interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, what's included in the sale is the primary domain and all site content and files, 3 additional domains used as 301 redirects. So Andy, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
I'm actually a software engineer, so that's my day job. I basically build websites on the side as a side gig. I basically started this over 5 years ago. I built and sold a few businesses before, and so this is the latest one I'm selling.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see that you have a little bit of a background in software engineering. Now, how does this business model compare to the software world? Why did you decide to go into the Amazon Associates business model?
I think it's a great way to monetize a website. Actually, it's pretty effective if you're getting the revenue. In short, it actually makes a lot more money than any other way of monetization that I tried. I tried drop shipping, display advertising. Amazon Associates was always the best way to monetize traffic.
Okay. Yeah, with their vast program and all of the products that are within the program itself and on Amazon, it's definitely a great way to monetize written content as well too. So I completely agree with you on that. Now, why did you decide to choose the home niche? Was there something that stood out to you compared to other niches you were researching at the time?
I think home niche is actually a very good market to be in, especially today with the pandemic. I think people tend to spend more money on the home-related products than any other niche. I actually got into this really because I had an opportunity to buy a business. I don't build websites from scratch, so I purchased this business. It was a smaller website, and I wanted to basically grow it and get it a little bit bigger. And that's how I got into this.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, if the business is doing so great at this time, why is it that you've decided you'd like to sell it?
Well, I build websites to sell. I don't like to hold on to websites. I like the challenge of building a new website. So I like to sell this one and get in and start working on another one. This is really the way I operate.
Yeah, I completely understand. It's the Flipper Fred persona that we talk about quite often in our content as well, and completely understand. So was there anything that you learned while growing this business that you plan on applying to any future or current projects you're working on at this time?
What I learned in this project is that building is not really that crucial to the success of the website. I think I'm going to be focusing more on content building going forward.
Gotcha. Now, was there anything that you tried with this business and it just didn't give you the ROI that you were expecting?
Yeah, I did actually run into this. I think one downside to this particular project was the fact that commissions were slashed in the middle of 2019. So this really was sort of a downside, but I think it worked out actually well because it made me work a little bit harder on the side, made me try new things, and in the end, it actually worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that was something that a lot of the Amazon Associates affiliates really, took a hit on back in 2019. But it's good to see that your business is still moving forward and, it's still growing at the rate it has been growing as well, too. So that's really nice. Now, have you tried anything outside of content and, some other channels as far as marketing is concerned, like with an email list or maybe some social media profiles?
I have not. I basically focus on search engine optimization and getting traffic for search engines. I think for somebody who has some experience with email marketing and social media marketing, I think it would be a good opportunity to grow the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone with those core skill sets, already under the belt, if that's an avenue that they'd like to pursue, I'm sure that does offer a lot of potential as well. Aside from maybe building out an email list or social media profiles for this business, hypothetically speaking, if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways that you would try and grow it?
I'd like to build more content. I think this is probably the best way to build this business. There are other products that are related to the topic of the site that could be reviewed, and there's lots of opportunity to build a site. I think another way to grow the revenue, a very simple way to grow the revenue, would be to put some display advertising, AdSense, Zoic. That's something that I would probably explore if I don't sell the site.
Yeah, it's a really great opportunity for someone to come in and add that monetization into this business model that you have as another way to maybe expand the revenue as well too. So I completely agree with you on that. Now, could you tell our listeners and maybe potential buyers that are looking at this listing, what is the typical workload or the tasks that you're doing on a weekly basis for this business at this time?
There is very little workload. Basically, I have to check for user comments, reject, accept the user comments. I research new content topics. And then I order new content from textbroker.com. I post that content. Sometimes I have to do a little bit of editing once I get the content. And then it's just a question of posting the content on the site. So it's just maybe a couple, 2-3 hours a week.
Gotcha. Now, do you feel that there's any particular skill set that a buyer should have prior to acquiring this business from you?
I don't think this requires any special skill set. It's a pretty simple business to run. I think one ideal skill set for somebody would be to actually be good at writing new content. If you can write new content or you have a team of people who write great content, I think it's really the key to success of the site going forward.
Yeah, I can completely see that in just the sheer amount of numbered pages and content that you already have on the business. I think that could help the business scale further if someone already had that team in place. Now, what do you feel are maybe some of the potential risks associated with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I think the risks are typical with pretty much with any site of this type. One is something that we already mentioned is basically Amazon controlling the commission structure. They can always lower the commissions. It's probably unlikely that they will do it anytime soon, and probably not in this niche because they already done it. So the commissions are probably stay the same for a long time. It would be my guess. Another risk is just Google essentially changing the traffic to the site. I mean, majority of the traffic comes from Google. So anything that goes wrong with Google might affect this website.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's always good to be aware of those potential risks, but as you had mentioned, the fact that they've already cut those commission rates, it's not likely that they'll do that again in the near foreseeable future anyways. Now, Andy, are you willing to commit to a non-compete, meaning any of your current projects or projects within the next 2 years, you'll stay out of this specific niche?
Yes, I will commit to a non-compete. I have no plans of building another website in this niche.
That's great to hear. And then how much support are you willing to offer potential buyers? Are you going with the typical 30 days of email and Skype support, or did you have something in addition that you would like to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, typical, and I don't want to limit myself just to 1 month. I'm open to supporting the buyer beyond the 1 month. Skype or email support for the next 2-3 months would be fine with me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure our listeners and potential buyers can really see the value in that added support that you're willing to offer them and, might help them, to move forward with any types of plans they have with this business as well, too. Now, are you open to negotiating something like an earnout where you'll receive a large portion of the sales price up front and then smaller payments closing out the deal several months after that?
Yes, I think I would be open to that. In the past, I was kind of against it, but, I think I should probably be open to that and discuss it with a potential buyer if there's an offer like that. It all depends on the specifics, but I'm open to this type of transaction.
Yeah, I completely understand. It's something that, if it makes sense for both parties, it's something that can be discussed during the negotiation period as well. So yeah, it's great to hear. Now, just a few sideline questions for you, Andy. Was there any software or tools that really helped you at the start of running this business?
I can't think of anything special. I mean, the website is built on WordPress. I write a little bit of customized software when I'm building the site, but that's really just something that is used when I'm building it. It's not going to be used going forward. I guess one piece of software that might be useful going forward is I have a script basically that checks for outdated products that no longer exist on Amazon. So that's something I can hand over to the buyer and show them how to use it. I think it's a very useful tool. It doesn't have to be used very often. I mean, those products don't go out of date too often, every few months. It's something that the buyer could use.
That's really great to hear that you have this additional script that could ultimately make a manual job much more streamlined for them as well, too. Now, what advice would you give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started this business?
Well, I think the advice is don't worry about inbound links. Just focus on content. I think that's the best advice I would give.
Yeah, absolutely. Content is key and it reigns supreme, I guess, in that sense, where if links haven't really hurt you in any way, then obviously the content is speaking for itself, right? So why do you feel that this business model is great for those who might be interested in getting started in online business?
Well, I think it's great because it doesn't need a lot of workload. Essentially, it's a pretty simple business to run. In fact, I could even see somebody just holding onto the site without making many changes and continue to monetize it. But ideally, you probably want to just post more content, and that doesn't require a lot of experience in running websites.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that front as well. And final question for you, Andy. So putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you feel that your business is worth buying?
Well, it's got a lot of authority in terms of the domain and the backlink profile. It has a lot of history. It has a lot of content. So I think it's a pretty safe investment for the buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. And just taking a look at your listing as well and seeing the growth projections and earnings and in-site traffic as well, just on this upward trend, it's really great to see in these types of content businesses. And I'm sure, potential buyers that are out there looking at your listing can also see the value in that. And that pretty much wraps up this call, Andy. Was there anything else that you'd like to add that I might have missed?
No, I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, perfect. Well, it was really great having you on the call and really excited to see these business and what you've built over the last year and looking forward to seeing this listing getting sold for you here in the near future.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you so much. And all right, everyone. So thanks for listening. To learn more and to see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 50616. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.